everybody. This is Carrie O'Donnell, Tarot Soul Writer, and I'm here with Cindy, who is my partner in crime, all things wonderful, and she is going to be part of this production today. Cindy, what's going on out there in Cindy world?
Well, I took my own advice that we had given last week about getting out and doing fun things, and I planted, and when I say I planted, I mean my husband planted the plants that I picked up at the store in our garden, and I booked 2 vacations, and wow.
That's so funny because I didn't even think about my own weekend, but on Friday I was out of there. I took that advice that as soon as my husband came home, we went out that night. We did a hike. We went outside. We had fires in the fire pit. We did some, like you said, some yard work. Really kind of got out there, and we had a beautiful weekend here in New Hampshire, which is kind of a crazy thing because it just rains, and rains. But that weekend is sunny. It was beautiful. I loved it.
Was meant to be.
It was. I hope everybody else got outside, tried to enjoy the weather where the weather was good. I know there were some areas of the country where the weather was not so good. So hopefully everything is well with people out there. Today we are going to do political and current event questions. And I would just say while people are coming into the chat, just some happenings here at Tarot Soul Writer. We didn't have class last week because of the holiday weekend, but classes are going to resume on June 3rd. My spring session is booked, and I have now officially posted all of the summer classes. They are individual and they are by topic. So if you've already taken one topic before and you want to take a different topic this time around, please do. And just go to tarotsoulwriter.com, press book a class, and the rest is pretty self-explanatory. I think this week I will be posting on Friday an interview I just did with Irish Granny. As always, it's great working with her. We have amazing conversations. We did look at some things politically, so you might want to check that out on Friday. Other than that, I think, I don't know, Cindy, are we ready to go? Are we ready to
I think we're ready, so I will.
All right, so let's
here we go.
Right into it. All right, we'll see what the first question is. All right, do you see a time when verifiable proof will be given to the American public that certain news station, I'm looking at you, Fox, were funded by certain foreign countries? I'm looking at you, Russell. All right, for entertainment purposes only, though. Verifiable proof. Let's see what comes up there. I think the answer here is yes. It's interesting that we said, I'm looking at you, Russia. I mean, there could be other, I guess you could say, foreign countries that may be involved, but I did pull my Empress card, which sometimes can be my Russia card, and that is underneath the situation. So it looks like the proof or the verifiable proof might be related to that foreign country as opposed to others. I do get this card, which is very interesting, sort of walking away. And I feel like this is down the road. Like, I don't feel like this is immediate. So this card is saying to me, we need to have some distance here. We need to walk away. There is some sadness and melancholy that I'm feeling here. And then I'm getting the Devil card reversed. We've disengaged from any kinds of corruption. So it's going to take us some time before we get the verifiable proof. We have to do some work, I guess. It would be like if America was a person, we're doing some inner work. And we're walking away from this kind of corruption in our government. And that's going to take some time. But I do get that the light is going to be shine on this with the hermit. So there's going to be some revealing. We said verifiable proof. This is the part that's kind of interesting, though, a little weird. I want to say that this is saying, yes, we're going to know something. But there are still some things being kept under wraps, which I find really interesting. And the Three of Cups here reversed. A lot of this, like, yes, we're not happy, we're not celebrating, but I'm also getting something with women with this card, which is very interesting. There are some things that are kept under wraps. So there may be some news or connections with foreign countries, maybe specifically Russia, that we kind of say, okay, there was some connection between these news organizations and they were funded in some way. We are going to know that, but there are some connections. And I don't know why I keep getting something with women that will be kept under wraps. So I hope that makes sense. It's good. Maybe there are some things that they feel like the public shouldn't know, but we're going to at least know some of these news stations were funded by foreign entities. Are the card's energy still indicating a guilty verdict in the current trial? Yes. Let's take a look. I know that's coming out soon. Is there Trump going to be found guilty? Stormy Daniels. All right, so there's still really good news here, but the ending is, you know, it's not the greatest news after this guilty verdict, but I do get the guilty verdict. The light of truth has been shined again with the hermit. So there's no way that the jury can ignore the facts. I think we talked about that last week, that I had some jury members that were on the fence. It was last week or the week before. And I got at the end that there was sort of a path of truth. Like once it's presented out to the people who are holdouts, they had no choice. I mean, there was just absolutely no choice. They really had to look at that and vote accordingly. And look at this, 10 of Swords. I mean, guilty. Like that's kind of what I'm getting here. Imprisonment. Right? He's bound. He's bound by this guilty verdict. There, I'm feeling, you know, like, oh my goodness, there could be potential jail time here. This is not good. Okay, so this is very good news for the rest of the American public. That said, the ending is, I guess it's what we would expect, because we have the King of Pentacles here. And so we have a lot of people with money. We have, I don't know who this is specifically, but there is some sense that money is swaying how this will go, like in the afterwards. Okay, he's guilty. Now what? And there's a lot of emotion here from Trump. I'm getting feeling really needy. I mean, dare I say it? I feel him like a child, which is very interesting. Like I want to weep like a child. They're showing me like a child holding on to his mother's apron. Guy, I need something here. There's a neediness that I'm getting emotionally. And I do feel like he's turning to someone with money. And here is something secret, something under the surface, behind the scenes. So I think what we're seeing here is what we knew was happening. They're going to appeal. I mean, that's kind of what I'm feeling here. They're going to appeal. There's some sense of trying to clean something up. There is something to do with money. So I guess that's no secret. But as far as the guilty verdict, absolutely. I'm still getting the same energy. So we'll see what happens. It's probably going to happen this week, right? So we'll see what happens. Earth Mama. How much longer for Netanyahu? And I just want to say thank you. Is it Kali? Cali? Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate you. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And I apologize if I messed up the name. All right. So how much longer for Netanyahu being in power? All right. I'm going to try to get the timing here. I do want to say that there is some good news. I mean, judgment is coming for Netanyahu. I think the real question is how much longer is this going to take? Let's see if I can narrow down the timing. Okay. I want to start. I kind of have a timeline here of different stages with Netanyahu. Believe it or not, it started in the spring, April. Okay. It started with him where I kind of get the sense that that was the beginning of his downfall. Honestly, I can't remember when the attack happened. Was it in April? I can't even remember if it was in April, but it may have been around that time of the attack that kind of began his downfall. As far as the tarot cards, I get that there has been some delays in getting him out, but this feels like little shakeups. There's a lot going on in Israel right now that have really shaken him up, like meaning he doesn't have a strong foundation here. I think the delays are what he wanted to accomplish, maybe as leader or with his power. And it's like, I don't have that power anymore. This feels internal to me, not just the international stuff that's been happening with him. And he's actually looking for a way out, believe it or not. And this Three of Wands can sometimes be my international card. So there is a sense that something's going on internally here and that he is looking for a way. How do I get out of this intact or with my money? I mean, here he is at the end. He's out of balance, but we have a new start and judgment on him. And this is for Israel as a whole. There's a new leader coming in. As far as the time period, I was very attached to the Four of Cups, being that this could be 4 months. I also pulled some clarifiers after the April card, and I got July and August. 4 months from now would bring us to September. I feel like July, August, the summer period, you are going to see the beginning of him trying to get out, or the beginning of that downfall, that internal happenings. We're probably going to see things in the news of people who are trying to oust him. There's something about this summer period. 4 months brings us to September. And I'll be honest, when I did my overall yearly predictions, I got September, October for him that he would be taken out in some way. Or he would step down, or he would have no choice. Again, a lot of internal hubbub. So I don't think it's that much longer. I would say possibly this summer, worst case scenario, early fall. That's what I'm seeing for Netanyahu. And I think he's already planning how he's going to get out. He knows like the gig is up, like that whatever was going on and the reasons, with the whole Palestine thing, whatever his reasons were for power and the things that he did, it's all backfiring on him. And I do feel like he knows that. All right. Indivisible, San Francisco. Please look at Alito, short-term future and after the election. All right. Short-term and after the election, Alito. Alito has been one of the justices that I never really get information on. And I have to preface while I do these cards, because every time I see justices stepping down in the future, I definitely get Kavanaugh. I definitely get Thomas. I always get something with Roberts. But every time I look at Alito, it's really hard to read his energy, or I don't get an answer. So thank you for asking this question. Let's see if I can get something this time with Alito, short term and after the election. Let's focus on him specifically. All right. Let's start with the short term between now and the election. What's being revealed here? And in this case, I get the Three of Cups upright, and I get like a lot of perks, a lot having a good time on America's dime kind of thing. There's some sort of revealing. And of course, we have that female energy here with that card as well. So there's going to be a lot of revelation about, I kind of think of the perks of what he may allegedly have been taking, and not maybe in a legal sense. And this is interesting because it's a release of burden. But honestly, what I'm getting right now from this card is a sense that, like, he's burying his head in the sand. That's what I'm getting here. Like, I'm not going to face it, or I don't care, or whatever, or I don't want to look at it. There's something here with that card. So as things are being revealed, I get a real attitude from him. Maybe he's just not having it burden him, and that's why it's the reverse burden card. And then I do get him stuck. Now, this is interesting because what's making him stuck, I feel, is illness. I don't know what this is, but I do know that this card in reversal can mean illness, and I'm feeling that over the other meanings in this card. So what's making him stuck, or what makes him stop, is something with his body, some sort of an illness or a setback in his body. That's what I want to say. And these cards are sort of right before the election. So his attitude's not changing no matter what's revealed, but then all of a sudden something physical gets him. Now, after the election, I'm going to start with the three that kind of work up to it. I get big money underneath it, and some sort of communication about the big money. And then I get my Four of Wands reverse, which is, I always think of like tarnished beauty, like something that you thought was good, but it's been tarnished somehow. And I also get this card for a rite of passage. And both of those things seem to fit here, because there's going to be messages about the big money that he's taken or that he's been connected to, and that has tarnished the court, tarnished what we thought was good about the court. And this is specifically Alito, where this is going to be revealed. And then the Hangman, he is going to be punished, right? There is a punishment for him. I'm thinking it's probably going to be him stepping down in some way, but he's not going to be off the hook with these cards. There's going to be some sort of punishment. I don't know if he's on the court when this happens, because I'm still getting something with his body. So I'm not 100% sure what that is. If he gets sick, he wants to step down. So Alito's not going to get away with anything, all right, even though he has a bad attitude. That's what I'm getting there. Thank you, Maria, for the super chat. I just saw that. I really appreciate you. Thank you. All right, sweetie, darling Lulu. How will the Mexican national election go? Will they vote in their first woman president? Cindy, I might need your help on this one, because I'm just wondering, is there a man running, or is it just women? Like, was a man even an option in this, or is it just women that are running? Do we know? Oh, wait a minute.
I'm not sure. Let me look in the chat and see. Does anybody in the chat know if it's a man versus a woman?
Yeah, because I wasn't sure, because I thought there might have been more than one woman running. I'm not really up on the Mexican national election. I'm willing to look at it cold, but nobody out there yell at me when I don't know what I'm talking about, because I really don't know what I'm talking about here.
Do you want to, if I get any information in the chat, we'll come back to it and I'll put up another one.
Well, I'm actually willing to pull some cards.
Okay.
And if we get a female, we get a female. I just wasn't sure if males were even an option, but why don't we just throw some cards and we'll just see what's up.
All right, let's see. And I'm looking in the chat now. I don't see a man and a woman.
Oh, there is a man and a woman.
That's from Iris. Yes, thank you. So,
all right. Thanks, everybody. All right. Thanks, Cindy. Let's take a look. Man and a woman. Will the Mexican people vote in a woman? How will this go? This is kind of interesting. All right, let me just do one more clarifier. All right, so again, I don't know anything about this. I hope I'm interpreting it correctly, but I would have to say that it's going to be the man. So I don't know who the man was, if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I get this transition, like the country is ready for a huge transition. And then you have the Sun card and kind of the Eight of Swords reverse, just a sense of releasing what binds them. It's we want to be happy. We want change. We want transformation. It's time. You know, we've been holding ourselves back. I get like all that type of energy. So I feel like people are ready for a change. But when I just want to say, I get women rallying in their country, which is interesting, a sense of the women rallying and I don't know if this woman is for women's rights or not, or if just women in Mexico just want to see something different. But I do feel women are behind the woman candidate. Here's the problem at the very end. Oops, I got her as the Queen of Swords reversed. She felt like she's wronged. She feels like this isn't fair, or there's some kind of energy here where she's really upset. The Chariot is here in reversal, like we got off the wrong track again. I'm not this is the victory card, right? I'm not seeing some sort of victory. And the interesting thing is, I asked for some more clarifiers just to make sure, and I'm getting the man with the money. There's some sort of money or finances behind this king. So he could be the male person, judgment in his favor. And this is the interesting part, because I get my communication card is reversed. But this could also mean bad news. So maybe it's one of those things that the people who wanted to celebrate the woman feel like this is bad news, that judgment is in his favor. Now, the other way I can interpret this, because it's bad news, is maybe it's super close. And maybe these women who are celebrating are initially the woman candidate gets in and they're like, hooray. But then, nope, we're not in victory. I'm really upset. And bad news, judgment in favor of the man. That's another way I can interpret these cards. So I don't know if this is good or bad. I don't know anything about Mexican politics. Maybe the male candidate was the best candidate. I'm not really sure, but I am getting that the man is going to win. Will there be a tsunami earthquake in California this year? I want to focus on, if it's okay, I'm going to focus and say a big earthquake that will cause a tsunami. Okay, and the reason I'm saying that is because we know there are going to be earthquakes in California. Cards can be really literal that way, and there are going to be earthquakes in California. I mean, there's earthquakes probably daily in California. So I'm going to just expand that a little bit because I know what you mean. You mean like a big earthquake that could cause a tsunami. So I'm going to kind of focus on it that way. So let's see. This year. All right, I'm just going to lay out some of my Eco Tarot cards and see if I can get any hint there with issues in California. I'm not getting a tsunami. All right, so I'm not getting an earthquake that's large enough to create a tsunami. I am getting an earthquake that may be significant. I'm getting my Ace of Pentacles reverse, which is usually it's an earth card. And when I get this, it's kind of like under the earth. And there's a little bit of a shakeup here, enough to knock down 3 of the cups. That's kind of how I'm reading this. And but there's 2 cups left. So I feel like I want to say, because I'm getting a lot of like I want to say like around like a 5 or a 6 on the scale, like somewhere between 5 and 6. So there might be a good shakeup somewhere in California. I don't think this is Southern California though. It might be a little bit more in the middle/north. But I don't feel like it's causing, I tried to explain with that 5 of cups, I don't feel like it's causing that much damage. So maybe if I had seen this like a 5.1 or something where I live, everything would just crumble. But there, it's kind of like, oh, wow, we had this pretty significant earthquake. There might be some minor damage, but it's not like it's causing like what you would say a tsunami. I did ask the Eco Tarot cards, and I do get a water card here, but it's from the air, water from the air that reverses fire. And so what I'm getting here is if there are any water issues, it's coming from a storm. It's coming from the sky. So it might be excessive rain or a significant storm that might cause some flooding, but I don't actually get a tsunami from an earthquake. You see retirees getting any additional increases in their Social Security checks in 2024 or any additional cost of living checks outside of the COLA increase in January. All right. I'm going to really look at 2024 and increases. Let's take a look at some timing here. All right. I'm not seeing increases in Social Security checks in 2024 or any additional cost of living outside of what they've already passed. All right. I feel like this is coming after. One of my timing cards says, it's hard to say, but it says timing is pushed back due to blockages. And what I'm getting here is something isn't fair with the Justice card. I feel like I'm trying to push for increases, but I'm just getting cut down here with this 10 of Swords. There's just a lot of confusion, a lot of stuff going on. And so I do feel like this is probably what's going on in Congress and in the government in general. And then you got the election, and there's just a lot going on and a lot of choices that need to be made. I just get like it's not on the agenda, or it's just pushed back. Like I can't deal with this right now. And here's one of my money cards. There's like mistakes made, dropping the ball, a money card reversed. I do get people really upset. It's interesting. It's a woman card too. And I feel like the government has, or trying to take some control over this. I think that's what's causing the blockages, this emperor. So, I mean, it could be related to the Congress or whoever has to make that decision, but I get some sense that this isn't the right time. That's what I'm getting. It's not the time. It's not the right time. It's funny, my clarifying card, it's time to move forward. So I feel like that's a way of saying there's probably going to be increases, but it's going to be after the election. It's not going to be before the election. There's too much going on. There's blockages. People aren't moving on this. So I know, hang in there for those of you who are on a fixed income, because I feel like it's gonna, the way move forward, it's gonna happen most likely after the election. All right, will Biden win by a large margin like he did in 2020? Let's take a look. Will he win by a large margin? I'm going to say pretty significant. And just FYI, a lot of what's coming through right now, I think Irish Granny and I are going to be talking about on Friday, if you want to check out that show for more detail. But the first couple cards kind of explains why he's going to win by a pretty significant margin. There's a split in the party. And here I have the Republican Party card. For me is the 10 of Cups. And I get this in reversal. There is a split in the party. And this also can be my card for dysfunctional family. So kind of think of the Republican Party as a family. It's like they're dysfunctional. There is a split. They're not all on the same page. I get to the 3 of Pentacles. And this is related to Biden because there are many different factions within the Democratic Party. And I feel like they're all coming together. And honestly, I'm feeling like there's some segment of the Republican Party who are working with Democrats. So there's this sense of teamwork, like we're coming together, or certain Republicans and certain factions. Because remember, I'm seeing a split of all different types of people in the Republican Party with all different agendas. And they're coming together for some sort of common good. This brings balance and healing to the country. We are all going to be happy, and we can begin with the 5 of Swords reversed to begin to repair and, make things better is basically what I'm getting here. So this feels pretty significant, like significant enough where you're not going to feel like it's close. When I did the 2024 monthly predictions, I even put that at the end of my election video. It's not even close. because I got the sense that that's what's going to upset us on election night is we're going to see on TV that Biden wins. Like there will be news stations that say the state is going to Biden, the state is going to Biden, and we're going to see it, but then suddenly they won't call it. They're not going to call it because, you know, they're going to appeal and count all the ballots and do all the shenanigans that they normally did and they did in the other election. And so we're going to be upset because we all saw it with our eyes. Like this isn't even going to be like 2020. It's going to be to the point where you could call it like the old days when they used to call it. And before you went to bed, you would know who won. It's going to be like that. You're going to know who won, but they're not going to announce it officially until they go through all of the different channels to make it official. So that's why in that video, I said, hang in there. But yeah, I feel like it's because the Republican Party is going to split. That's why. All right. Please look into Cannon's denial of Jack's gag order. I know. Jack must have been pissed. Now what? All right. Going on. What's the next steps here? I'll try to like focus in on Jack's feelings. See what's going on. What's going to happen next? In this case. All right. First of all, I never get Jack as pissed. I never get him emotional, and I don't get that now. I check just to make sure. And here I have him as the king of rods. I'm standing up for what's right. I'm a man of good character. And there is some sense of leadership here and strength. And I just don't get him shaken, not emotionally, not like, darn it, I'm so angry. If he has those emotions, which would be normal human emotions to the situation, he has this very much in control and almost like you're playing chess is kind of how I'm feeling. It's like, oh, she made her move. I kind of anticipated that move. So I'm getting ready for my move. Like I get a sense that he's ahead, like he is almost anticipating what she is going to do next. There is something here about money exchanging hands. And when I get this in reversal, it's about a debt owed. So he's getting ready to either reveal, or I don't know how this is going to be presented behind the scenes, but it's about revealing a debt that she owes, that this is something, her behavior has to do with this debt owed. And here is that, this would be like, I'm going to walk away from that battle, right? I'm not going to deal with her or the situation. I'm kind of giving up to fight another day. But he's engaging in this reversal. There is some sense that I am going to right this wrong. What is the wrong? Her ruling is based on some sort of debt owed. And we need to right this wrong. We need to repair that. Now, the ending here, as far as where this case is going to go with the gag order and just the whole thing, right, is there, and I have to show her, here she is the queen, but she's holding the money. She has some sort of money behind her, but it's bad luck for her. The wheel or the karma wheel has stopped, or you could say this is bad karma, or karma is coming back on her. This is bad fortune for her, the Queen of Pentacles. And I do get, this is my Five of Wands. That it's very interesting. Five of Wands can be sort of a competitive sport. And the reason I say that is because I feel some sort of competitive energy. And okay, fine, you made your move. Now I'm going to make mine. And there's a team atmosphere here. And we're fighting for what's right. So I will say they're not showing me the outcome in this question the way I asked it, but what they are showing is don't worry about Jack. I get a sense that he's in control. He's already he's like 3 moves ahead on the chessboard. And even though she has a lot of money and power behind her, there is a next step. Okay, this isn't over. There's going to be some sort of bad luck on her part. The next step for Jack could be some sense of revealing this debt owed in some way. Now, how that manifests, I don't know. That could be a reading for another day, but I will say that I don't know how it's going to happen or how long it's going to take, but I always get her stepping down at some point. So we'll see. It's not over. He's not done. All right. What is the future of the Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau? What is the future? So I don't know anything about Canadian politics either. I don't know if he can run again or not. So I have no idea of that. So I'm just going to do a cold reading, kind of look at his political future. What is the future? And I didn't say political future, and I'm glad I didn't say that, because I kind of feel like I don't know if this is true, if he's running or what, but I kind of feel like him wanting to enjoy his life right now. Here he is, trying, eye on the prize, the leader, doing what's right and so forth. But I get a woman next to him, the Queen of Rods. I don't know if this is his wife because I don't know his marital status. I thought that he was having marital problems at some point, but I do get a woman behind him. And this is someone who's important in his life. And then I get that he is going to celebrate. So, I guess I could interpret it as if he is running again, he could celebrate. He could have some sort of victory. But because the ending here, I have this 9 of Cups. And I just get the sense of wanting to retire, a sense of wanting to enjoy his life. It has something to do with the woman, because I get a woman here who is very emotional right now, who needs some sort of help or stability or comfort, whose heart might not be in something. And I get really practical energy. Like, I really need to be practical about this. So overall, I just get him thinking a lot about enjoying his life, and it feels like retirement or just taking a step back at this particular time. So I don't know if that meshes with what's going on in Canadian politics right now, but that's the feeling that I'm getting, that his future is more for him than it is for Canada. Are powerful Republicans secretly working to defeat Trump? I kind of got that a little bit already with that question where we looked at the election, and I got that there were some Republicans who were working with the Democrats, and that was the reason for the win. So let's take a look and see if I can get some more information on that. They're secretly working. Now, this is interesting because I used the word secretly, and I feel like it's not even secret. It's not even secretly. I feel like there are powerful Republicans who are helping to or working to defeat Trump openly, is what I'm getting. They're looking back at the past in which there was a lot of victory. So I get that. I almost feel like a White House feeling with that card too. So when we had the White House looking back, and this is some sense of delaying or not putting their energy behind Trump. it's interesting that it came out as a delay. So this is like, we are not going to win the White House with him. So there is some sense of practical energy here. And they are seeing with this punishment hangman card that he's going down. All right. So these powerful Republicans are saying, delays in winning the White House because he's going down. The outcome here is, if we are going to move to victory, I know this is crazy, we need to follow the emotion. Very interesting. So I'm not saying powerful Republicans all have our best interests at heart, but what they see is like they're seeing the victory and the emotion that's going to be happening. They are anticipating what's going to happen. And this is about poverty. And when we say powerful Republicans, I feel like it's people with money. All right, this is what I'm saying. They're like, if we kept going, we're going to be in the poorhouse. We're going to be out in the cold. We need to work on this now, to ensure victory, to follow this emotion, which is on the other side, so that we can secure our money. That's the way I'm reading this card, which has come out for me before. So yes, and I don't think it's secret. I think that there are people now who have, it's almost like they put all their cards on the table at this point. Things are not secret anymore. Everybody has drawn lines in the sand at this point. So I think the time of secrets are over, and we kind of know where everyone stands. And you're going to see this even more after the Republican convention, because that's when all the lines are drawn in the sand. Is Judge Merchan going to be safe after this trial result, verdict, sentencing? I see if he's safe. Yes, I do feel like he is going to be safe. Where his mind is right now is on his family and on his family's security. So there is a lot of emotion under this. He knows that there's a lot of emotion that will be overflowing after the results. And he's very much worried about his family's security with the 10 of Pentacles reversed. I do get this. This is like the fighting card, or like fighting for them. There are a lot of ways I can interpret this, but what I'm kind of getting is security. So there is a sense of, I'm securing my fortress with this particular card, and I'm protecting my family. And I do get communications here. And with these communications, they seem to be affecting a woman. So I don't know if he's married, because I do get sort of a wife feel. So you can tell us in the chat if there is, but this feels like someone in his home, someone who's really having a hard time. And it could be, the communications could be things like for entertainment purposes only, death threats or threats against her. So again, the threats seem to be going after more his family, but there's a new start here. There's a new start, a new beginning, fresh energy. So he is going to be safe. I think his family is going to be safe. I think his concern is more with the security of his family, because when I read his energy, I get this sort of resolution of, I've made my choices. Like, I know what I need to do, and whatever the consequences are fine with me. But that's why he worries about his family, because they didn't make that choice. That's the sense that I'm getting. And he's particularly attuned to a woman that feels like a wife, but if he's not married, it could be someone else in his family that might be getting a hard time concerning communication. But he's going to be okay. He's got a lot of protection with that Knight of Swords. All right. Final question. Oh, there's Maria. Thank you with the super. All right. Will Palestine become a state? And will peace finally come between Palestine and Israel? Will Palestine become a state? All right. The answer is definitely yes. And I was trying to narrow in on a time frame. And I do feel like this is probably a lot quicker than we think. I feel like everything's out in the open now with the Seven of Swords. Like when we're moving toward this yes outcome, it's again like the entire dispute that's gone on for hundreds of years is like all on the table. And I shouldn't say hundreds. I know since World War II, you had a lot of this really accelerating, but I know that there have been conflicts in that area much before that. And they're, putting all their burdens out on the table so that we can all see it. We want happiness now. So I got this sense, it feels like peace talks to me with these cards. Like we're at the table and we're putting it all out and all our grievances so that we can all see it because we're working to some mutual happiness. We want happiness now. Enough of this. And here's the outcome. And I'm going to read them like literally. So we have a new start and a new beginning for Palestine after betrayal and feelings of loss and war. And we are going to move to victory for the two-state solution. I had asked for a time frame, and the first card I pulled was amazing chemistry, terrible timing. So I feel like at first it's like not quite the right time, but they did pull a June card for me, which I thought was interesting, that these thoughts, this planning for this to happen, to be able to have peace talks and so forth, are actually going to start almost immediately. I feel like everyone knows that this is, I guess you could say, where things are going. But when will they actually achieve it? I'm not getting the exact date, but I think that things are starting like now to try to get that chemistry and timing for this idea together. And I do get a victory for a two-state solution. All right. So I don't know, Cindy, is it time for our next segment? Because I think it's time for.
I'm trying to get this question down. Sorry.
Oh, and it's not coming down, huh?
Too many irons in the fire. I'm almost there. Almost there. That's such a question. It's going to stay up.
It's going to stay up. It's just here, and I don't know how to take it down either. But it is time for
Wednesday Wonderings.
And hopefully we'll get it down at some point.
I know, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, we were going to do something a little different because Cindy has accumulated a lot of questions for Wednesday Wonderings. And last week she said, which question stands out to you the most? And then, of course, I forgot what the heck I was doing. So I actually asked her again, what was that question? And she reminded me. And this was the question that I had chosen. I wrote, some individuals who experience an NDE, near-death experience, for the viewers who don't know what that means, say they are told it's not their time and they must return. What is the role of free will in this experience? Okay, so to kind of put it all out there one more time, it's kind of like, I've had a near-death experience. I leave my body. you've all seen these on TV, right? Like people have common experiences. Like I go through a tunnel, I see a light. Maybe they're greeted by family members or a being. Sometimes they're told, or very often they're told, it's not your time. That's why it's a near-death experience, right? And then they're shot back into their body. This is like the common experience. So how much free will do I have? Can I choose to stay? In other words, can I be like, or do I always get shot back down? And I will say a lot of people in these stories choose it. They'll say, no, I want to go back. So I think that's where the free will come in. I didn't get a chance to organize these thoughts yet, so I'm going to read them in my raw form. But I did a soul writing session, and I asked my guides and my angels this question and how much free will was part of it. And this is, I'm going to read the answer in its raw state, how it came through, and then I'm going to make sense of it at the end and interpret what they were saying. I wrote, narrowly averted disaster, freedom from constraints, getting away scot-free, bowing out before things get too bad, not facing your problems or challenges. Change could be delayed or denied. I can't escape, I heard. And then I got vacuum, like almost like I saw this like light vacuum, and it was like someone was being like sucked through the vacuum. It was a very strange image. Parts of your life may seem confusing or uncomfortable, but may not be a crisis. A divine kick in the butt to shake you out of complacency. And then I wrote divine intervention. A fall from high places. You might be backpedaling to get out of a commitment. Teaching, counseling, learning, I got from there. Problem solving, spiritual truths. And then I got guides. So I feel like this teaching, counseling, and learning were part of what the guides were saying. They said they need to maintain standards, healing, and I got some sense of, I know this is weird, like spiritual laws or rules. There were like rules involved. And then it says, have faith in higher powers. You took a vow to commit to a certain path. You can't cut corners. You can't take the easy way out. Wait. Then I got loss, the type of loss that is necessary for something else to emerge. Aimless or drifting, you are protected. Relax, feel safe. Face your fear, embrace your mortality, and then meet face to face with spirit. This brings your life into perspective. You realize your flaws, your potential, and the opportunities life is offering you. Sometimes spirit calls and you don't answer the phone. And then I got South Node, and I had to look that up because I'm not an astrologer. And then I realized that it was related to past lives. So I wrote where you are coming from, your past lives, karmic. You need to release the past. Go back. You need to trust in the process. Don't waste your life. Trust life, they said. Now, if I had to put this all together, I kind of got the sense that like we're talking specifically about NDEs, and NDEs are near-death experiences for a reason, right? It's near death. They're never completed. In other words, the person is always going back. And that's different than if someone, for entertainment purposes only, took their own life in some way or in some way bowed out and said, no, I peace out. So I did get a sense that you have free will to a point. But with the NDE experience, I kind of feel like there are some things that we're bound to. I think we had free will when we developed our contract with spirit. Like it says like something about you took a commitment to a certain path, right? So I think we had free will at that part before we were incarnated. But once we get down there, I kept getting something about spiritual laws or rules. And it was like the guides were there to kind of hold us to that commitment. There were a variety of reasons. I felt like there could be reasons the guides wanted to talk to us in that way through a near death. I couldn't negate the fact that some people had a near death experience on their path, on their karmic path. Like this was part of it for some people, that there was some sense of getting extra information at that time, or transforming their experience for a certain reason. Then there seemed to be others who felt like they wanted to kick out because they were going through something that felt terrible. But like they said, um, part of your life may seem confusing or uncomfortable, but may not be a crisis. So where our souls are like, I feel betrayed. This is way harder than I thought it was going to be. I want out. I want to stay. And they're like, it's not going to be as bad as you thought it would be. It's not a crisis. You can go back down. You can problem solve. You can figure this out. So there are a variety of reasons why I think it doesn't, like, we get kicked back. But overall, that meeting with the guides, there was just some sense that it's a time to feel safe. Like, you are safe. You're here, you're floating, you feel safe. It's okay. You're okay. You can finish your mission. You're here to learn. And then it's kind of like, divine kick in the butt. Then it felt like tough love from a parent. Like, get back out there on the soccer field. Just because you fell and skinned your knee, that's a flesh wound. Get out there. You can do it. Like, I kind of felt like they were like parents who are like, you have a lot to learn. Trust in the process. Trust in the life. You have victories ahead. Don't give up on your life. But I felt like they were almost cheerleaders, like, for us. And it was like, get back down there. So I kind of feel like in some ways you don't have complete free will. Once you sign the contract, it's kind of like you're in this for the long haul. Now, there are, maybe that's why so many cultures say things like taking your own life is a horrible thing, right? A lot of cultures will even call it sin. I don't really believe that. I think it's just there's a lot of compassion for people who are in that category. But I think that's something that's so desperate. It's like a breaking of a contract that you really need to go through a whole other routine or healing with your guides in order to get ready for an incarnation again. But I think for the mass amount of us who may experience NDEs, you don't have complete free will. Not after you sign the dotted line and say, this is what I'm going in for. So, Cindy, do you have any insights on that at all? Have you had any thoughts on that?
No, I think it was really interesting. It almost felt like there's a little spiritual counseling involved. Like, okay, yeah, I like the parent that's coming in and saying, okay, we got your back. You got this. Just a little reminder of what you're here to do. That's very interesting. Yeah.
It's kind of like, because then you have some people, and it's funny because when you hear stories, there are some people who will, it seems like free will, right? Because you have this sort of counseling session and then they're like, okay, I want to go back, right? So it seems like they made the choice. The way I kind of got it is, well, maybe not. Maybe they didn't make it. Maybe they just made them think like, okay, I'm ready to go back. It's okay. I'm safe. It's okay. You gave me like the talk. Mom gave me a hug. I can go back down and do my thing. So
maybe you got this. Go back. Yeah.
You got this. Yeah. And then it's kind of like, it's so funny because with all that compassion, it seemed like some of it was kind of like tough love. Like when I got divine kick in the butt and, like, you made a commitment, it's kind of like you need to take responsibility for what you did. Very parent childlike, which is kind of interesting. That's the feel, but maybe that's how it came through so I could understand,
That was a question too. And I think it's great that you did the soul writing on it ahead of time, because that's not something that you can just go, oh, let me answer that. Let me pull 3 cards, right?
Yeah.
That's a question. That is.
I'm still thinking about it. And I think if I had time to organize my thoughts a little bit more, to kind of put them all together in paragraphs, it might have come up a little bit more coherent. But that's the gist of it. Yeah.
Very interesting. Thank you for reading on that. We have
welcome.
Lots more questions at that kind of depth waiting just for Wednesday Wondering. So
just for Wednesday Wondering. So next week we'll do another one, and I'll do a soul writing session and on a spiritual question. But I think at this point, what do you think? Are we ready for some music to dance out?
I think it's time to dance out. And I think it's time for the dance party music. So
all right. Let's have a little dance party. Bye, everybody. You have a good